like the initial tasks, right? So that the pace can like keep up a little bit. But once you get over that hurdle, apparently, you get like so much stuff. Like so much stuff. So we'll see what happens. Like, if anything, like it's a game that he'll play more than I do. But he really likes it. Perhaps I should download it since I missed Animal Crossing Wave. I think, honestly, that's a great idea. It's a very social game, as far as I know. In our group chat with my IRLs, everyone was just posting pictures with just like random shit throughout the day. Maybe because it was just like a Sunday and nobody's working, but like, it was nice. I don't even know if you can time scam in I don't even know if you can time scam in Pokopio. I'm already seeing things like you won't have vegetables ready until tomorrow, and I'm like, okay. So I should just Kate Marsh. So I should just young man, is what you're telling me. Oh, really? You can? Oh, thank God. All right. Do they get mad at you? The knight errant himself. That is me. No? Okay, well then, okay. That's excellent. Have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Sholmes? I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. The courtroom trials are fascinating affairs. As a spectator, at least. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself. I have to ask. What on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What is this professor business all about? He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before. Who even is he? Of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. If you don't remember what happened, oh my God. We're gonna indict my bestie. Courtney Scythe? Courtney! She can't be evil. You know what? I don't think she's evil, but she's definitely a baddie. So I don't know, like if she killed somebody or if she fabricated evidence, I'm sure she was just kidding. Who was this diva? She's everything, but I think she's a murderer. I think she's a murderer who fabricates evidence. On International Women's Day, I know. I'm sorry. I think she's a liar. I think she's a liar. The professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, I sensed a sense of foreboding stirred within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heart felt sympathies. As it turns out, Lord Van Zieks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realize, isn't he? So the Phantom is the person who's behind this mask that we can't unlock. The Phantom is thought, or the professor, I guess, is thought to have killed a bunch of aristocrats, including Barack Van Zieks' brother, who essentially, I guess, was so important to him that when he died, it turned this dude into a big old bitch. So that's important. I'm assuming that if Courtney has something to do with this too, she's about as moody and broody as he is. So I'm assuming that she has somebody else that also was murdered who was closely tied. Barack. Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock. And now a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I imagine that even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. You make it sound deliberate. I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling. Oh yes? What in particular manner? Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Scythe, and Lord Van Zieks. It seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. Yes. In fact, I alone am not a member of the set. Though that leaves me as an empty seat, all alone with no intersection to any other. Excuse me. Beyonce? I'm sorry, she's like, she's my fave. I'm sorry, please, don't be evil. Like, seriously, her character design is really good. Like, she's so gorgeous to me, I can't. Dr. Courtney Scythe. What the fuck is that? What is that? Nay? 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 What? Huh? What? What does that say, Anaya? What? No. What? Nay? Stevens. Good to me. Good day to you. Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. What in particular, pray? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you? Why do you assume such a thing? Because Gregson told me. To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in a laboratory, wielding my scalpel. I smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant. A policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Scythe, and I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. Lord Van Zieks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has I knew it! I knew it! I knew it so bad. I knew it so bad. I love him. I really do, but I knew it because he was about to say, like, he is so into this idea of this forensic team and, like, making criminal forensics, like, this whole worldwide thing. If this happens, it's gonna disrupt his whole bullshit, okay? And I knew it. I was thinking about this for, like, 2 days. I was like, how is he just gonna let us do that? There is no way that he's gonna let us take his whole, like, his whole nest egg with this whole, like, forensic science situation that hasn't been introduced to the world, and we're just gonna ruin it by, like, indicting the leader or the chief of the forensic investigation team. There's just no way. There's just no way. So how are we gonna get her on the stand? I knew that this was gonna happen. I hate men. Lord Strongheart. The Pandora's box you were warned about is the professor's case, but please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice. I've always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. So what the fuck are we supposed to do now? I'm sick. She mentioned it too. This Pandora's box. Yeah, I feel ended. I feel disgusting. Whatever does it all mean? There's really no cause for concern, I assure you. When the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent whether you like to or not. Huh? Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits. I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much. Ah, yes. One word of warning before I go. If in the case, the court of the trial this afternoon... Wait, what? If in the course of the trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of a doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. Hello, I'm Japanese. Please call me... Let's see. Kiri-san? Kirin-san? Hello. To the bitter end, you understand. Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. I understand, thank you. Good, I shall make myself scarce then. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier, so I'll be gnawing on that as you gnaw away at the truth. I had some 90% cacao chocolate today, and guess what it tasted like? Awful. I need some sugar. 90! What did that warning from Sholmes really mean, I wonder? Especially that bit about whatever may come to pass. Give me that. No, I promise you, it was not like this was not. It wasn't very sweet. It was. I felt the antioxidants coursing through my veins as I consumed it. Oh, you're fine. You're fine. If in the course of the trial this afternoon you perceive even a shadow of a doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. I wonder what that means.
Oh.
And a follow. Thank you. It's time for the final chapter then. I'm determined to find the truth, no matter what. This is gonna be so bad. I'm worried. I feel it in my stomach. I'm feeling abhorrent. I'm feeling abhorrent.
How abhorrent!
I'm feeling unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
I'm not feeling it. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue? The prosecution is ready, my lord. Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready. As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident and a great expedition. Yet now we find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. This trial has certainly defied all expectations, as seems to be the fate of all trials in which the Nepenthes is involved, my lord. Clarice! Oh my... Huh? How could you? Oh my god.
How can I say this? I need you to be more urban.
Let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Van Ziegs. My lord, are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tuspels? Not at all. She's in the antechamber as we speak and ready to be summoned. Very well. Bring in the witness. At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tuspels to the stand. Things are about to become a lot more intense. I know, I'm feeling it. I'm a little bit worried about this one. If Drebber is responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means that he must have had an accomplice in Dr. Scythe. And what connects the pair of them is the waxwork. Yes, the model of the professor. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present, it's all we have to go on. State your name and occupation for the court, please. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tuspels. I'm a waxworker artisan and the proprietress of the Madame Tuspels Museum of Waxwork. You will have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there's two of him in the world. Oh my! What expression is she carving onto that face? A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oi, that is true. At first, we believed that it had been kidnapped. A waxwork model? Kidnapped? Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand that it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim. At present, there is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Asman. But of course, I know him well. He is a part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say what is evident, but Mr. Asmund does not resemble the professor at all. Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar. Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? I have here the key, but it's strictly forbidden to open the lock. This is absurd. Pardon? I don't know what face you carved onto your fancy figure beneath the mask. But it clearly won't be that of the actual killer. What did you say? Beneath the what? Beneath the what? Girl, what the fuck? Wrong one. The man's identity was never made public after all. The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There is no possible way that a repository of Tardley exhibits could get its hands on that information. I don't know. Quel dommage. What is quel dommage? Dommage. Quel dommage? What does that mean? It would seem that you are unaware of the Tespel's principles. What principles? The family Tespels has always prided itself on sculpting its models a la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voila! Our principles. There is a well-known legend about the Tespel's waxwork from the time of the French Revolution. Such a pity. Interesting. A member of the Tespel's family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Oi, that is true. That was a century ago now. I believe the queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Tespels stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects. Dear me, a somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose. It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family's secret for generations. Do you mean to say that beneath that mask... Oi, that is the true visage of the killer. This is ludicrous. It's out of the question! The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tespel special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer emerging from his own grave. It's a sight to behold. You should come. I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model, and your personal involvement in its creation. With pleasure. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with Tespel family principles. I enlisted the aid of a gravedigger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me the signal. I was there for a very long time that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered. The gravedigger? The man sanctioned this? Oi, I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do, huh? So you truly saw it? The face of that monster? Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret. But the Tespels would not be Tespels if we did not insist on absolute fidelity in our sculptures. I don't believe this. I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madam. A truly blood-curdling scene, in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave. The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. I have it here, a newspaper from the time. Oh wow, what is this? That is fantastic art. Asmon. Where's my contract? Odie Asmon. Odie Asmon. Odie Asmon. Why is his Mr. Drebber's Dreadful Encounter? Now, why the hell is Odie Asmon's signature on there? I'm gonna have to read this. The special exhibit was based on the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it. Oh, thank you. Let's do some reading. Yeah, that's Mr. Asmon's signature. What else is here? Mr. Drebber's Dreadful Encounter, number 139. Okay, I'm assuming that this is the... Okay. Man rises from the grave, executed criminal returns in the dead of night. First up is gray cover is claw creep in the earth. So clearly that's ridiculous. The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of science from the University of London and a resident of the student dorms. Now, why was he there? Wait a minute. Oh my god. Oh my god. I figured it out already. Wait. So clearly what this means to me, what this is indicating to me is, okay, so we know that Drebber has a connection to Asmon, right? Clearly something about this is signed off and intentional by Asmon, so maybe he had some part in trying to fabricate whatever the story is or commission this art, right? But clearly he's trying to hide something. I'm thinking that Courtney spared this person, and what happened was they pretended to give him the death penalty and they actually were free. So maybe the actual professor was Odie Asmon. Maybe the actual professor was Odie Asmon, right? Who killed everybody. And maybe there was some sort of altercation that happened at the time, because if we check the camera, we can see that the camera has blood on it, right? Now, why would it have blood? Isn't that strange? And assuming that he was wearing this at the time, perhaps there was some sort of altercation. What else? Is there anything I can gather from the science trophy? Royal Society? Talented scientist. I don't know what the science trophy does for me. I have to think about it. Anything here? Another thing that I noticed too, perhaps this doesn't mean anything, but I wonder about this hat. Is this actually? Does it have? Don't they have the same like chin shape too? Let me look. Square chin with the V shaped and like in defined. I don't know. I think they're related. Look at the face, because wasn't that something that we alluded to earlier? And look at the noses. The noses are also very similar too. I think these two might be related. And this might be the professor. Because why would he randomly be here? Right? Why would a student randomly be in the fucking cemetery? Isn't that stupid? So this was his brother. And potentially Courtney was an accomplice here because she was married or engaged or in some sort of relation, maybe had kids with either you or you. So maybe she had like a child between one of these two, which is what connected her to the two and made it so that she fabricated this autopsy report here, right? That could make sense. But what I don't understand is why there's blood here, right? I think that this, if we uncover it, is going to look like Drebber or Asmon, I think. That's my hypothesis. Because, yeah, if it wasn't for the signature, I wouldn't have connected these two pieces of evidence. Anything else here that I can look at? The fire that engulfed the popular theater. Wait. Charles Darwin to receive Copley Medal, and this year's recipient of the Royal Society's most prestigious award is Mr. Charles Darwin for his highly important contributions and research to the fields of geology, zoology, and botanical physiology. Mr. Darwin joins the ranks of monumental figures such as somebody and Leon Fruch. Okay, that's funny. Mad Sheep Rampage. Okay. The Great Stink. Oh my god. Vendetta players? Wait. Alright. Wait a minute. At the cemetery behind the prison, on the night of a Faladian's execution, the newly forced cover to know. The young man who witnessed the scene was on the verge of raising a shriek when, in the next second, a gunshot suddenly from behind? Does that mean that you're the one that shot him? Who shot him? A gunshot? And that would make sense because there's blood. But where did that blood come from? Somebody died. Oh! Ugh. Anyway. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words. The public enjoy their absurdity, monsieur. That's why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum. And it's a waxwork from the museum that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Expedition, wasn't it? That is correct. The professor, as you see here. Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe. I think so too. And I can see that the chin shape is also looking a little sus in there too. And there's some reason for that, which hasn't come to light yet. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Scythe and Drebber were in on this crime together. This special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. Hold it! And that rumor would be... the 10-year-old tale now, but no London would never forget. It could be anything else. The tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my House of Horrors. The rumor was whispered all over the city. And it was like this. It was in Lowgate Cemetery behind the prison in the dead of night after the execution of the killer. The interned professor slid back the stone slab, covering his tomb, and emerged from his grave. A young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more. The scream finally found its way from the mouth of the young witness, who turned and ran for his life. What the fuck? And then somebody shot him? Who was it? Nobody knows, even today. That's not good enough. But remember, it was just a rumor. Perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. The good people of London, they love stories like this. That's why it was in every newspaper across the capital. But was it just a story? I don't think so. I mean, this is exactly the scene that can be seen today in your museum, isn't it? Oi, the special exhibit was modeled on that very illustration. For a while afterwards, the contents of that article were reproduced in every newspaper imaginable. Madam, might I say something? Please go ahead, mademoiselle. When something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's entirely made up. I believe that often, rumors contain elements of the truth. I see people from the East can be just as astute as the people of Europe. Can we be sure, for instance, the professor's execution was successful? That's what I've been saying! That's what I'm saying! That's what I'm saying! That's what I'm saying! I don't know! It's not possible for the dead to come back to life. Right, but did you die at all? Sorry? 10 years ago, I was there in Locate Cemetery. After the criminal known as the Professor was killed by the hanging, I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before it was interred. So I can assure you, the man was dead. I see. It's a little sus, don't you think? It would certainly appear that the condemned man suffered the intended fate. That's what I'm saying, buddy. I would do some ... too. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with the Tuspells family principles. Is that true of every waxwork in your museum, then? It is, assuming the subject is dead, of course. Live subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know. What sort of letters? When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me. Kome-ka! No! My museum is famous, monsieur. To be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status even. Because nothing says hardened criminal better than wax. And it is thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. I refer to that star of the exhibit, of course, the Professor, whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse. There are no exceptions to the principles of Tuspells.
Hold it!
Surely that's illegal, isn't it? It would seem the proprietress of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed. It had nothing to do with money. The man is part of London's criminal history. That's why I had to sculpt him, to record his history. It is the ransom debt tray of the Tuspells Museum. But if the man was convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity. I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the Professor. Do you realize what you're saying? The Professor's identity is a national secret. I understand. And now that the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close. Of course it will. As your entire museum, if you don't tread carefully, madam. That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you? So 10 years ago, on the night of Professor's execution, you took a wax impression of his face from the corpse? Oi, exactame. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. You were there longer than you expected to be? I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open and I had some problems with the chin. Dare I ask? The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing and consequently his chin would not align itself correctly. Oh dear. What a horrible thought. Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night I was alone, and as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time. What did you mean? When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death. Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant? It's because of rigor mortis. A rigor mortis? It's the name given to a phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And then, from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Courtney! Confirmed at midnight? Confirmed at midnight? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. If we don't... Wait. You know what we need? The time! Hi, Jakey. We need the time. If we get the time that Tuspells was there, wouldn't that, like... She missed her window. Well, that was an education. A slightly scarier one. As Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw. I see. So that's why you wait. Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work. Yes, it's significant. Oh my god, Miss Miller. That is so significant. It's crazy. Yes, of course it is. Yes, absolutely. It's very important. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, would you mind including it in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant. There's no time for jokes. Bien sûr. Sorry. I need to know what time you did it at. Three hours. Starts in the jaw, 3 hours post-death, right? I guess I'll read this. What time of day was it then? The execution took place on June 17th, which had the earliest sunrise of that year. First light would have been around 4:40 in the morning. That is really early. 4:40 in the morning? The time, I think, is important, yes. Sunrise at 4 in the morning. Wait, the fucking autopsy report is wrong! Oh, the autopsy report is wrong! Midnight? It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. No! It's wrong. I hurried to finish my work in a half hour before sunrise. I don't know. I think it's a contradiction. I'm afraid to say it.
Hold it!
But let's read instead. Yeah. You cannot buy the silence of everyone. Fair. That means no. Wait a minute. You just helped me. What? The sunrise was at 4:40, which means you would have been around. It would have been 4 around 4 when you began sculpting. I think I have to present the... I think I have to present this.
Objection!
Is it the wrong one? No! Or is it the one before it? Before the onset of rigor mortis. What? Is this the right one?
Objection!
Okay, yeah, wrong one. Madam Tussbells, I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. So this autopsy report is bullshit. I knew it. Courtney, you're such a fucking liar, dude. Courtney, no, you fucking, she lied. No, Courtney. It confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows. And is that a problem? I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. Oi? Are you going to explain yourself in Japanese, friend? According to their testimony, Madame Tussbells was creating her wax impression just before dawn. And at that time, rigor mortis had not yet set in, right? Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 or 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he couldn't have been dead for a long time. But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Seitz's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, June 17th. No! If the professor indeed had died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would have already had set in. Oh yes, you are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
Oh, could her testimony have been wrong? No coroner makes mistakes when reporting the time of death. The very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place. That's what I fucking said. Yes. That's what I said. I don't think it took place at all. I agree. I fully agree. I'm impossible. Order. Council, this is beyond folly. Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Scythe, but you also implicate the members of the staff of Barclay Prison where the execution took place? By heck, extraordinary. Not in my day. My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. And what fact is that? The professor died that night without question. He did. Of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. There was no... Yes, the professor died that night, but you don't know when it happened. But what if he didn't die at the gallows? Didn't die at the gallows? Are you insane? No, bitch, he got shot and I have evidence to prove it. It's right here. This whole game is so easy. It's right here. What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, and that one other person of interest. You! I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. Council, present the evidence at once. The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened that night at the professor's execution. Well, it's this.
Take that!
What do we have here? Before considering the night of the execution, I would strongly advise the defense to concentrate on what's happening right now in this courtroom. What? Was that wrong? Oh, come on, there's blood on it! Okay, fine. Present the evidence at once. The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened the night of the professor's execution. Well, he got shot, but what evidence do I have to prove it? That explains what really happened. The evidence that explains what really happened. The evidence that explains what really happened. Am I an idiot? The evidence that explains what... It's not this? The evidence that explains what happened. Oh, I mean, you mean the fucking gunshot? Sorry, I guess it's this. Sorry. Am I... Okay, is it the gunshot? Okay, and not the blood on the camera? Okay, fine. Maybe it's the 10-year-old article.
Take that!
Okay, what happened that night is written very plainly in the article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting that it was a corpse coming back from the dead now. Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again.
Objection!
Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumor published by the gutter press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? The point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened. My word, yes indeed. Mas Oi, the young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night.
Objection!
Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself, but obviously the man made it up. And in any case, that was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him. On the contrary, my lord, we all know the witness very well. What? Are you suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen these utterly incredible events take place? Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here, right before my very eyes. You will substantiate your last claim then, counsel. Who is the alleged witness of the staggering scene from the cemetery 10 years ago? Is it not Drebber?
Take that!
The man in question is Drebber. Drebber? The previous witness? The special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tussauds Waxwork Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. The condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and beside the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is a 10 years younger Enoch Drebber. Order, order, order! Surely not, Council. Drebber was there in Lowgate Cemetery? What is all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is that name significant? Of course, Madame Tussauds doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's an extremely significant name. Your situation as well, to your situation as well, in fact. What situation? The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man. Not. But that would mean Madame Tussauds, it would appear you know the name. Enoch Drebber. Oh, yes, I know it. But from a long ago in the past. What? Oh my. Goodness gracious. Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know. Yes, of course. Is this testimony? Okay. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from in one newspaper. The Daily Circus. It is the paper from which comes the article I have already shown the court. You're saying that his full name was only publicized in that article? Goodness me. Yes, here it is. The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of science at the University of London and a resident in his own dorms. Of the student dorms. Unbelievable. When I read that article, I went to meet with the man. His discovery of the condemned criminal coming back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night would make a perfect exhibit for my House of Horrors, whether it was the truth or not. I see. So you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt the waxwork of the man, did you? Exactament. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. I paid him £5 to model for the waxwork. And since that time, it has been my museum to recreate the scene of terror from... It has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery. So, 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he'd witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death, re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. But the public treated this claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork of the model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork's build is a poor match for the victim and his face is obscured by the mask. So the question is, why would the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. If the birdcage had in fact not contained the body of Mr. Asman, but that same waxwork, the coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated Dr. Scythe would have noticed immediately. And yet, she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court has seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor. Is that what you're saying? Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive. A criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drever. But that misconduct was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect. Which is precisely why Mr. Drever used that particular waxwork as the body double. Oh. My lord. This court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense is determined to find exactly who the coroner and how the coroner and Mr. Drever are connected. But according to the missive I received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case? She told us so herself, didn't she? The Pandora's box you were warned about is the professor's case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago. And surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of it more than Lord Van Zieks. The prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. Whoa! But Lord Van Zieks, the missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office.
Objection!
The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, me. Yes. Let Enoch Drever and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together. Order, order, order. Very well, I will uphold your request. Bailiff, send a subpoena with the immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe of the Forensic Investigation Team. The woman is compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders. Alright then, Enoch Drever and Dr. Scythe. If they weren't colluding with one another, this crime would have never been committed. I'm just a stone throws away. I can feel it. The truth behind all of this is about to come out. And we're gonna keep going. Thank you for your attendance in such a short notice, Dr. Scythe. I'm disappointed in you, Lord Van Zieks. Ooh! You've completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Betrayal is not in my nature, as long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt. Mr. Drever, you took the victim's life by means of a machine that you constructed in your workshop. And Dr. Scythe, as the investigating coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It is the belief of the defense that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime. Do they have the same eye color? Do they have the same hair and eye color? And where's your evidence? At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue. What are you talking about? I'm talking about, of course, about the waxwork. This model of the killer known as the Professor, who was sentenced to death 10 years ago. You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes and officially pronounced him dead. That remains to be seen. Is that so? According to the newspaper reports at the time, on the night following his execution, the killer came back to life. Don't waste my time. And the sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? If what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction, but reality, it would make you privy to a very great secret of Dr. Scythe's. A secret so profound, it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme, in fact. Mr. Drebber, tell the court, tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night in Lowgate Cemetery. So he was the student who saw it. You can see the resemblance actually, can't you? With the man in Madame Tussbell's museum. Surely he's not going to claim what he really saw, especially after all these years. He was a research student at London University, wasn't he? And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. What an interesting twist. When at the time, not one person would take me seriously. Yet here we are now, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters. And in a court of law, too. Very well then, if everyone so wishes. Let's be frank, I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night, for what it's worth. So, Mr. Drebber, your testimony, please, about the event of that night 10 years ago. You will tell the court exactly what you stumbled across in Lowgate Cemetery. Yes, of course, as you wish. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery at all 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting. What the fuck? What are we, dust hawks? Moonlighting? What the fuck? Me as Umbreon? What? Yes, the illustration in that newspaper article was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the professor. So soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist. And it was all because of that newspaper article. Right, earlier I think Mr. Scientist said that being defamed is the worst thing that can happen to a scientist. When you lose credibility. Wait a minute. You're claiming that you didn't actually see the professor now? Of course. You'd have to have a screw loose if you believe that a corpse could come back from the dead. So you're saying this article is not worth the paper it's printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly. Yes. If the details in the article aren't true, it nullifies your argument of why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe would have been working together. So he's describing himself to cripple my argument? Tell me, witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery on some auxiliary business? Can you elaborate some? That's right, grave robbing to be precise. As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the rear of Barclay Prison, so among students at the university, let's see, it had a reputation for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Grave robbing, you say? Yes. Exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried with the dead. So you were one of the so-called resurrectionists, a particularly unpleasant scourge on society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name. The repurposers. That is quite beyond pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yes, well, I think I suffered enough retribution. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches, and in the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. Who drew the illustration for this article? The reporter who exposed me. This is perfect because I want to go get a snack. Snack time! All right, be right back. Give me like 15 minutes, all right? Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. All right. Surprising amount of Famicom music in your playlist, and yeah, it's too bad, huh? I was gonna say something. Let's do theater later. Delicious. Trials in the Sky. I'm already doing trials in Japan. Like, in Britain. I'm already good at that. To be honest with you, my artifact pizzas are kind of like good enough, I think, in both of those domains to stop farming them. Frankly. But I'll keep going. Thankfully, it's been nice. I've gotten like 2 double crit goblets that rolled 3 stats, so I'm really happy about it. Goblets and sands. I'm actually really happy about it. I guess I just need a good flower and I call it a day. Hopefully. In the cemetery 10 years earlier. I didn't want to go through this. Guys is just fucking lying, dude. Where's my water? Here it is. I actually got 2 pieces of chicken because I was taking out trash and letting my dog out because I wanted to get back in 10 minutes since I can't eat. So I just got 2 small pieces of chicken and I'm probably going to still be hungry. So I hope you're happy. Anyway. Alright, let's continue. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery all those 10 years ago was for a spot of moonlighting.
Hold it!
Too bad. Damn, like... my dog can't poo? Oh my god. Who'd want to buy a dead body? Any major hospital. In order to better understand the human body, the study of anatomy is crucial to medical science. But there isn't a hospital in the world that has enough specimens to work with. Though obviously they can't openly access or express an interest in obtaining more by dubious means. An inspiring scientist with young research students have no money to work with, as I'm sure you can imagine. So we made, let's see, surreptitious arrangements with a hospital via some of our medical student acquaintances. Okay, so what the hell is that? That's a new word.
Surreptitious.
Surreptitious. To be kept secret. Stealthy. Clandestine. Secretive. Especially because it would not be approved of. Surreptitious.
Surreptitious.
Interesting. Sometimes I question the Asia's living conditions. Why is your dog awake at 4 a.m.? Why are you sometimes eating groceries at 12? It's just how it is in this fucking house. Why do you think I stream so late? I stream so late because fucking everyone bothers me during the day. I could have just been a normal streamer, but everyone bothers me during the day, so I stream at night. We would never take anything of value from graves. We need a fund to research. The illusion, or the illustration of the newspaper was based on what I saw that night. The illustration of the paper.
Hold it!
I ran to fetch the police. I mean, that would give him a motive to kill. What's his name? If this research article, or this 10-year-old article, was approved by Asmon, maybe this is why he had a revenge plot. So maybe this was like a you scratch my back, I scratch yours. He hides Courtney's secret, and Courtney helps him get him back for being defamed and losing all of his money. Because that's like the #1 no-no for scientists. Is because you don't want to lose your credibility. Otherwise, you're just fucked. In the end, though, it was reporters from the gossip rags and the gutter press that came to get my story. The story was in every single paper at the time, with the exception of some broadsheets. And yet only 2 or 3 of them actually interviewed me personally. Most of the accounts turned out to be very interpretive ghost stories. What about the article in the Daily Circus? That particular journalist found me in my dormitory. I don't know how, but he discovered my name. So I recounted him exactly what had happened that night. And from your description, he drew this illustration? Precisely. That's how I learned that the condemned man was the infamous professor. The journalist drew this description, or drew the depiction, which means that Odie Asmon drew it? Really? Thinking back now, I realized that I never actually saw the professor at all, though. Really?
Hold it!
Okay. It was what? It was renowned what? Anyway, it was renowned among us students at the university for being haunted by ghosts of condemned convicts. For some absurd reason, I was scared of the graveyard at night. And as a result, only too willing to believe that nonsense about the dead coming to life. But you said you actually saw it. I said what I seen in my mind's eye. After all, resurrection is impossible, isn't it? You had to be unhinged to think otherwise. Unless, of course, you have some sort of evidence that proves I encountered the professor that night. Evidence? I don't think I do. I don't think I do.
Hold it!
Oh my god, is Courtney just standing there? His camera. I made a point of taking it with me wherever I made an excursion into any cemetery. You took a camera with you. To what end? To record the details of the bodies I disinterred? But I had no intention of ever visiting a graveyard again after that night, so I sold it. But I still have it. It's part of the special exhibit at my House of Horrors. The actual camera had been... I think I actually might have evidence now.
Hold it!
Specialist trade, huh? Mm-mm-mm. Circumstances have changed now. What circumstances? Well, if he admits to having seen the professor emerging alive from his grave 10 years ago, it was supposed a secret in Dr. Sai's past that she would desperately want to hide. So now then I have to just show that he did see. Yeah. Yeah. I think the camera's probably the best way I'm gonna do that. I never saw the professor at all. Can you tell me about this camera then? Am I really going to... the way my stomach like braces itself, if like I'm gonna hear the music stop or not. Am I really gonna present this idiot camera? I'm not really confident in this. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Objection.
Bye. Bye, 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 bye. I'm not even confident in this. I never actually saw the professor. Then what did you fucking see? Like, then what is this?
Objection.
But that's so easy. That doesn't make any... That cannot be. There's something sus about this. Otherwise, we would have never found out detail about... I don't think this... I think we're gonna go back to this. Because it doesn't make any sense. Otherwise, we would have never found a detail about the camera if we didn't, like, press further. So... This can't be the case. He's just gonna admit the statement, right? Oh dear, we seem to be at odds. But I was there, and you were not. I know what I didn't see. Wearing an iron mask. Would have known, yeah. How did they know that there was a mask? Unless you actually seen the professor that night. It's inconceivable that an artist would have included the mask in the illustration. Uh-oh. A vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely. What? I was utterly petrified. Okay. I've been mistaken. I was just kidding. Right, okay. This is absurd. If you are stubbornly sticking to that story, witness, then amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you. That's what I was saying. We're gonna move on, right? How you think your eyes deceive you. A fellow grave robber at work.
Hold it!
another student, unequally insalubrious. I see. Uh-huh. Medical students. Right.
Objection!
Really now. Embellishment.
Sponge.
Embellishment.
Excuse me.
Embellish. Embellish. But what information did you embellish? Embellish. I done heard it all. Don't take it out on Mr. Shams. Ooh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Drebber's last remark was significant to you in some way? I thought it was a little strange, that's all. How Monsieur Drebber could claim this now. If you don't mind me saying, madam, what are you talking about? Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, you recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, no? Including the gunshot. Anytime I hear, like, stop, I think about that time I played Shadow the Hedgehog. And I was playing that level with Maria. And I like shot like gun shoulders or something accidentally. And she was like, Shadow, stop! I was like, oh my god. Oh my god. You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Objection!
Have a care, Drebber. That's no way to speak to a lady. Please, Madame Tuspels, carry on. Of course. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him, and the bullet hit the condemned man. I said nothing of the sort. None. You were very explicit about the details. About the mask that figure was wearing, and the blood that splattered all over you when he was shot. Enough. Shut up, woman. You're making all this up. I don't think so. That will do. Mr. Drebber. Yes? You refute the account just given by Madame Tuspels? I have no recollection of ever saying those things. Oh. You just made that up! Do you really expect us to believe you? Control yourself, Consul. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom. Right. Under these circumstances, I think it's best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this witness. Very well. Yeah, me too, bitch. This stupid statement? What? With this baby mode? Like, what? Is this baby mode? I mean, I'll press it anyway, but... What exactly did he say about the blood that spattered on him? This is what he told me. All of a sudden, he heard a very loud gunshot from behind his back. The bullet hit the figure who was emerging from the tomb in the middle of the chest and his heart. One dreadful sight after another. And then since Monsieur Drebber was at the time facing towards the condemned man. The blood sprayed from the wound and splattered onto his body. That's what he told me. It didn't happen. Yeah, the game's like, can you just kill him already?
Objection!
Mr. Drebber, do you remember this camera? But that's the camera from the Fateful Night. Yes, we borrowed it from the House of Horrors. It's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Drebber. And is that supposed to be significant? This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleagues and I were keen to examine it closely. We noticed that the lens extends forwards on the end of some bellows. Like this.
Hold it!
What is that? There, just on the bellows. It looks like a dark red stain. That's right. A rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact. Good lord, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. It would appear to be a splatter of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Is that right, Dr. Scythe? It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood, and not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it's blood at all is simple enough. I propose that Madame Tussbell's testimony was correct, and on the night in question 10 years ago, you were spattered with blood from the gunshot wound. Well, and that furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from his tomb. There is simply no way you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience. In other words, the only explanation is that you've been trying to hide the fact that you saw the professor that night.
Objection!
But why? Why would he want to do that? Well, it's not for his own gain, it would seem. For whose then? Who could it benefit? Mr. Drebber is obviously lying in order to protect somebody. My goodness, he's shielding someone? Yes, my lord. And clearly, it's someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed. Well, Counselor, who is it then? Who is this witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw?
Take that!
The obvious answer is Dr. Scythe. Scythe? Whatever do you mean? Imagine if the convict who has been sentenced to death was not in fact killed. Imagine if that was to come to light. What are you insinuating? And imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor, that would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection!
This is beyond a joke. Need I point out that the dead cannot come back to life? What you're suggesting would mean that the execution never actually happened. Yes, that's exactly what it would mean.
Objection!
Once a man is sent to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not in Great Britain.
Objection!
But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hanging. If that were really true, Counsel, then the implications of the misconduct would not stop at the supervising coroner. It would taint the honor of the entire judiciary from the ground up. And it's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that Dr. Scythe would consent to any demand made of her by somebody who threatened to expose the secret, even if that meant being complicit in a crime. You mean... I mean that Dr. Scythe wasn't collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced into collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Asmund with the waxwork model and fabricated the autopsy report. Lord Van Zieks? Pray forgive my freshly filled shallow Hallis and a whole raft of other discourtesies now. Goodness me. It's just the sort of tall-tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. So let me ask you one thing. Do you have evidence? If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night, only to be shot in the chest, who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever? That is a very fucking good question. I don't know. That stupid monkey picture. I don't know. Oh no. Oh no. I honestly, no way. Are you stupid? I would never. Was it Odie Asman? It was the Balloon Man. I knew it. Balthazar Loon? I knew his ass was in my fucking court record for some reason still. I knew it. We have too little information to work out at the present, I think. Damn. The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. Ugh. And have you considered this, my learned Japanese friend? Consider what? Do you realize what a dangerous endeavor it would be to coerce this woman into such criminal activity? It's tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary. Quite hard to imagine any sum of money being offered for research could warrant it. To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake would be madness. Well, I suppose, and this was no petty crime either, the victim was murdered. A man who'd already invested money into the venture and would be instrumental in future profits too. Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Asman at all. Or are you forgetting that his death results in me not receiving a single penny? The court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no? The motive for this case runs deep, though. I can feel it. Using threats to force the head of the forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme, especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place. If the research grant was the aim, taking Mr. Asman's life would have made no sense anyway, which means Mr. Trevor's motive wasn't the money at all. It was the credibility! It was the credibility! It was this! I know exactly why. I'm not stupid. It's this! He was just trying to kill Mr. Asman, but why? I know the motive! Your time is up, my learned friend. If I'd say you'd have one last chance before the jury loses their patience over the charade. Let's see if you can back up your heady proposal then, shall we? How do you explain why this engineer would throw away all caution to the wind and threaten his own country? At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, counsel, present your evidence. Alright, who exactly was Mr. Asman to Trevor? There is a connection that no one's seen yet. I'm gonna have to present 2 pieces of evidence to show what it is. Oh, I know what this is. This is easy.
Take that!
It's the newspaper article, my lord. That was written 10 years ago, and every detail has been examined thoroughly. What could it possibly tell us? That dribble should have never been written. It's typical gutter press nonsense that means nothing. Yes, on its own, it isn't particularly significant. However, when considered alongside another piece of evidence, it will completely explain your motive for wanting Mr. Asman dead. What other evidence? Counsel, you will present your supplementary evidence without delay. The evidence, which cross-reference with the newspaper article, establishes a motive for the dead, or for the deed. It's this.
Take that!
It's this contract, my lord. Mr. Drebber, this is the contract you signed with Mr. Asmund. Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact. That proves I had no reason to kill the man. No, I'm afraid not. What? There is something very significant that this newspaper article and contract have in common. Really? And that common link shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Asmund. It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us have missed. So, my learned friend, point out what these two pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between this newspaper article and the contract?
Take that!
What these two pieces of evidence have in common is a signature. A signature? The signature on the illustration that accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person. What? As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago. Imagine if you didn't notice this signature, though. Why would I not notice it? It's kind of just there. I guess you kind of get used to it. Like, yeah. Well, I was thinking like, there's nothing else about, okay. Usually when you have like documents like this, there's usually just text, right? Never a signature. That's really, I thought that part was weird. So I was thinking of a reason why this evidence would be like important. So honestly, the signature is only like, the signatures are what really stood out to me. By the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about this ordeal. If you look closely, the reported signature can be seen in the bottom right corner of the drawing. And if you look closely at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can see clearly that Mr. Asmund's signature is at the bottom. Let me see now. Good lord, yes, they're identical. In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Odie Asmund.
Objection!
To explain to the court why. Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Mr. Asmund? I remember what you said earlier, Mr. Hairbrain. What is the one thing that matters the most to a scientist? Credibility. It's your credibility. You're fucked. You got expelled. Look at this guy. I know exactly what this is. And you know what? I have evidence to prove it. You know why I have evidence to prove it? If what you're saying is true and you're a scientist, right? And you go to fucking college, right? And you want to like change the world or do things with your inventions, right? Then obviously, yeah, you want to maintain your credibility, right? And clearly science was important to him, not just because he was in college, but look at this guy. He was a prodigy. He was a prodigy. Look. Look at this man. Look. But look at this. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. Clearly, Mr. Drebber was a very talented scientist. So, what's the one thing that could ruin him forever? A sham bullshit article that ruined his reputation, his ethos, down the drain. You can't hide from me. I won't let you get away. If you think back, you remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony. Grave robbing, you say? Yes. Exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. That's quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yes, well, I suffered enough. I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually unearthed my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously, I might add. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist, and it's all because of that newspaper article. At the time, you were a student at the University of London who dreamt of becoming a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life. So Mr. Asman used to be a newspaper journalist, did he? He did, my lord. In fact, it was a widely held belief that Asman managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network, thanks to the many dubious connections he made during the time as a reporter. So, you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Eventually, you found yourself working in the field of science, but only in the shadows. And all because of that article, written by Mr. Asman. Enough! Where's it at?
I've had enough!
Stop this endless dribble about my life. What? Explain yourself, Mr. Trevor. Yes, it's true. I had to leave the university as a result of the article. But that was just the straw that brought the camel's back. You are such a liar. Hi, Scratch. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the raid. Welcome. Good to see ya. I'm gonna have to hold the horses on introductions because I need to we're getting into the juicy part. Wait a minute. No, have you watched the game? Okay, if you haven't seen the game yet, you need to go. Sorry, I love you here. Thanks for being here, but you gotta go. All right, this is spoilers. You gotta go. Unless you don't care. All right, I'm gonna give you 5 seconds. Okay, you're done. Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research, but they struggled on with their hypothesis anyway. We all did. Only to have them taken away by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other, after all. Take care, Go. Oh, thank you. Sleep well, and thanks for the raid again. Making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was a hard reach. Being forced out of the university because of Lowgate is the best thing that could have happened to me. Mr. Trevor, do you genuinely believe that? Of course I do. Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me? I do! I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all. How dare you? And I have the evidence to prove it. How are you in a position to say anything about me? I don't know you from Adam. Fine, if you think you have the evidence, go ahead, show it. What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave the university because I lacked talent? Your talent is right here, bitch!
Take that!
Do you remember this, Mr. Trevor? We found it at your workshop. Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science? And which jury member would be able to corroborate on this particular trophy? Would somebody in the jury like to speak up on this? What exactly is this trophy, Council? It's the greatest honor that can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. There is no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future. And in fact, you can also look here, right there. I think. Well, I thought it was. Goodness gracious. Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they, Mr. Trevor? Because even then, you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of one newspaper article. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Asman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man. Let me see my breakdown. The truth is Finally, he's going to fold. I don't know, buddy. Scythe? Fine. Clearly this has run its course now. What? I admit it. All of it. What? What are you doing? It's exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim. Oh! Oh! Oh, that's so funny. She said...
Girl, I'm about to get the fuck up out of here because...
What is that one Mercy clip? I gotta live for me or something. What was it? What is the clip? Oh my god. You are not gonna do this to him. Oh, she's so bad. Oh my god, she's such a baddie. I love her. Oh my god. I'm gonna send her to prison, obviously, but like, oh my god. I was coerced into going along with this man's plot to murder the victim on the condition that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. No. Good lord. Dr. Scythe, do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, when I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart nearly stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself was the professor again, staring at me in the face. And then, before I had a chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan. From someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There was really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. Are you fucking insane? This is not good enough. You... Oh! No! No, no, no! Why on earth would you buckle now? No, no, no! No! I can't let her get away with this. I cannot let her get away with this. She did take my moment. So then, wait. So then if Odio Aspen was the journalist who ruined his... So who the fuck is this? Oh, I'm gonna get you, Courtney. Oh, I'm gonna get you, Courtney. Okay, fine. You wanna fight? Let's fight. Well, there's no point in trying to hide it anymore, is there? I would have done anything to stop it from coming out, even collaborate in murder. But the great lie about that execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Whatever happens, I'm finished. So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything. Surely it goes without saying. You admit your part in it too, then? I admit nothing. At all. What is your, what? This is crew. This is crew whenever he's wrong in an argument. What? What? This is Puffy whenever I criticize Genshin. Puffy, but the next Abyss is gonna have the highest HP it's ever had. In the entire history of Genshin, how can you say that power creep doesn't exist? And Shield is ruining the game. I admit nothing at all. Huh? Have you forgotten that in the Kinesis machine, that the Kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? And short of me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. No way. This is insane. Order, order, order. Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secrets, so I went along with his plan. And Lord Van Ziegs, yes? I hope you accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course. Oh. 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 What is that supposed to mean? Why is she? Oh. I've heard more than fucking enough. I hereby present the final findings of this court. Are we moving on? This trial is not the proper forum in which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Drever. The defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain. Very true. It had slipped my mind. Isn't he one of your closest friends? As the court has heard, Dr. Seth has admitted the allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt. Are we... Is it... What the fuck is this? I'm gonna jump. At the present time, it is the conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing. Does the prosecution have any objection? I guess they don't. What the fuck is this? What did I do? Why did everyone just say? And there we go, guys. It's time for us to get in bed. This has been fun. All of that crying and bitching and objecting and recesses and making me look like a fucking idiot in those stupid summation examinations. Are you serious? Right, because she said nuh-uh. This is insane. That's it. Oh my. Oh, congratulations, Mr. Naruhado. You've proven Mr. Harebrain's innocent. Now, I want to prove his guilt. Without further ado then, the adjudication. Can I please object? I'm going to object. Unless the prosecution or defense has any other matters to discuss. You should object, buddy. You should object. I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. I know, like, you gotta object. Why did Dr. Scythe suddenly admit to it like that? Is everything all right? No, it's not. This sucks. Like you said before, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will clearly deliver a verdict of not guilty. But is that really what we want? We need... No! The stupid fucking Switch has the fucking buttons on the back of the controller that I accidentally pressed.
Objection!
I can't be objecting. The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. I'm so sorry, guys. Everyone in the audience was just like, huh. I know. I'm sorry. I don't want to be annoying. I really don't. I'm sorry. Guys, I know everyone wants to go home. I know. I know we're going to be here for more hours. I know. Oh, but I really want to get her. Like, I gotta get her. I gotta kill her. Like, I'm sorry. She's gotta go. I beg your pardon. We demand one final testimony. No. I don't think so. You're not objecting me. You do realize I'm about to adjudicate in favor of your client, I presume. What are you playing at now, my Nepalese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. Mr. Naruhito, what exactly are you thinking? The truth, the whole truth, and the way to bring it all into the open. Yes, in hindsight. Alexa, turn on the lights. Ah, yes. One word of warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. I knew this was too easy. I knew it wouldn't be so easy. He must have deduced that this would happen. Yes, I'm here in court to advocate for my client and to secure the acquittal, obviously, but that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to the court to pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail is laid bare. And that is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Scythe. Testimony from me? About what? How? How did you do it? About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Enoch Drebber. Ha! In case it escaped your attention, I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. Stop wasting everyone's time. As his lordship made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There is simply no point in protracting this business further than another tedious cross-examination. Whoa! Pray forgive my careless handling of the Apollo's bottle. I slipped. That's what you call it? What is your objection, Lord Van Zieks? The prosecution also calls for the supplementary testimony from the witness. Don't be stupid! If there is more to this case than has yet to come to light, then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until to the bitter end. Yo, what? Lord Van Zieks. This is most irregular to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will uphold the request. Dr. Scythe, you will testify for the court, explaining the full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Dr. Drebber. Very well. I love this guy, aside from the racism. Scott, that's like 50% of Americans. Don't worry. It all began at the scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside its pocket. Okay. The actual body of the victim, as indicated by the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which is my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. Isn't this something that we weren't supposed to like see or get? The screwdriver? So this is going to be a key piece of evidence then, because this is going to be like not fabricated. You know who has the you know who has the best? Hold on. Where the hell is it? Not that one. Ba-ba-ba-da. I'm gonna get you, bitch. Like, ba-na-na-na-na-na-na. We're gonna kill you, big dog. I can't wait. Okay, anyway, so I was right. The stage and the machine were all specifically designed for the deception. So it seems. And all meticulously prepared. You did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. You are... This... Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say it. I think she's up there with Costello. No, I really do think she's up there with Costello for me. She might be top 2. Like, seriously? So kind of you to say. And what about this autopsy report then? All I did was record the location of the body being at the Crystal Tower instead of under the stage. That's all? That's a terrible corruption. Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instructions. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you. We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Okay. There's no particular need for a cross-examination, I would say. Absolutely not. Just look at that expression in Dr. Seitz's face. I don't know what's going on. I have to think about this then. I have to think about this, and I have to think about, like, the screwdriver. Has this piece of evidence done anything? What is it about you Japanese that makes you all so doggedly persistent? Very well. If you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Okay, she's gonna be hard to take down.
Hold it!
Why did she order a bunch of scalpels? Yeah, Scotland Yard's kind of fucked.
Hold it!
So what happened to the waxwork then? Okay. What about the head? Oh, they put the wrong stick. Yeah, okay. They put the wrong cage, huh?
Hold it!
I didn't feel it'd be appropriate to involve anybody else in that particular part of the deception. Uh-oh. Oh, he looks to be alive. Oh my god. The actual cause of death was the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop. Something about Dr. Sight's last statement. It's playing in my mind, is that's all. Yeah, I don't know. The real cause of death. The neck trauma? That's not right. I thought his neck was fine. Am I an idiot? The neck trauma.
Objection!
Oh my god! Stop! Oh my god! Leave me alone! Neck trauma!
Objection!
No! But the autopsy report is wrong. I thought she faked it! I thought this was fake.
Objection!
Okay, so I'm gonna stop that. I'm gonna not. I what? Okay, fine. We'll surprise.
Hold it!
You aid and abet a murder, committed perjury, and dare to talk of chivalry? Ugh. I need a lawyer.
Hold it!
There really wasn't another way to protect the secret.
Stonehenge.
Hi, Pan! Thanks for 62. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hope you're doing well. In many ways, I respect your determination. Interesting. I have a feeling. How these two are reacting in completely opposite ways. How does she win from this? Them not looking into the professor more? Hmm. Hmm. This is hard. I don't know. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay in the toppled cage and plunged the screwdriver into the chest. Does that make sense? Because wasn't it enclosed? No. Hmm.
Hold it!
Do I have to change this? I think this is wrong.
Objection!
How is it wrong? But look at where the fucking cage is positioned.
Objection!
Oh, fuck me. Fuck, shut up. Oh my God, no, I said that. Oh my God, I swear to God, I said that. You're a joke, I said. Oh, never mind. Oh, I didn't say that, I lied. Okay, never mind. I'm a fool. I said it to the other statement.
Objection!
Yeah, okay, my bad, I fucked up. I got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth. What on earth is the matter, Council? This is the new song. Have you lost your tongue? I apologize, my lord. Dr. Scythe, in that last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There is an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events leading to his death.
Objection!
The court has already examined that photograph in depth. There is nothing new that we can learn from
Objection!
it. Yes, we have already considered it. That's true. But we now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. Where in this photograph would we see the alleged inconsistency with the witness's statement? I feel like it's here.
Take that!
The blood stain. It extends in a downward direction, towards the man's feet. And why is that significant, Council? If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Dr. Scythe made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole the Professor Stairbrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, but the birdcage had fallen below the stage out of sight. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim had really been stabbed while it's in that position, the blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions, for it to have formed a longitudinal appearance that we see from the picture. It's inconceivable. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Asman, he was standing up. And sure, Dr. Scythe, your latest testimony was a total fabrication. I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified the contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Scythe. You claim you were coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left with the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant, and you claim that you authored a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out and out lie. I think it's the coercion. Because the question of the bloodstain really tells us there's only one possible answer. If that is the case, what is it, man? Thanks for the follow. How she was coerced, the autopsy report, and the stabbing. I think how she was coerced, I think. Save? Are you serious? Dr. Scythe, it's clearly you weren't coerced by some letter at all. What? If you were, where is the note? It's nowhere to be seen. Hi, Admiral. That as may be. So why don't you present it to the court if the assertion vexes you? Obviously, I've already disposed of it, and I'm not vexed in the slightest. Counsel, I need to remind you that it was you yourself who established the coercion. Are you fucking serious? I lost points? This is so insane. This is so insane to me. Oh, she doesn't have the note. Oh my god. She threw it away. Oh, she threw it away. Which part of the story is shown to be a lie, but the contradiction in her testimony? I mean, I'll be... Would it be the autopsy report? So, did the fall even happen? You say that you examined a body and wrote this report based on your findings. But that's a blatant lie, isn't it? I'm sorry, I simply can't fathom what you're attempting to say. The truth is, you had your subordinates do the work for you, and they authored the report. But then you wielded superiority over them and claimed credit for yourself. Can you honestly say that's not what happened? What the fuck? This is wrong. Yes, I can honestly say that's not what happened. Well, good. I'm glad to hear it. Oh, I hate this game. Oh my god! This makes no sense! What? The stabbing? This is such an insane question to me. What? Okay, anyway, so what? You objected about the stabbing. Yes. That's why I object. Oh my fucking god. What? I'm sorry, the fact that she was stabbed, she stabbed him while he was laying down? I thought we already established that. I thought the whole conversation about the blood was literally establishing that already. That he was stabbed vertically. Why are we talking about it again? Okay, anyway, sure. Whatever. The answer is very simply if we consider the sequence of events. If, when the victim was stabbed, the blood seeped downwards as it did, we could be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. Yes! Yeah, duh! But as you rightly pointed out, the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yes, it would. Which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
That's impossible. The man was dead, remember? Was he? No, that is the misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. But Mr. Asman didn't die from the fall. Yeah, I thought that would be fine too. He probably lost consciousness for a while, but when he came around, he got to his feet and climbed out of the cage. Just as Dr. Scythe appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, it changes everything. Uh-oh. Mr. Odie Asman's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Harebrain. Nor was it the mastermind behind the trickery, Mr. Enoch Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Order, order, order. Can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, wasn't it? You killed him? You hoped by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end before you were accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up. You're so desperate now that you're making all this up, as if I would do something like that. I assure you, the defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Naruhito has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Ha! Logic. Don't make me laugh. Sadly, your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? I'd have thought it was obvious. A motive, boy. You're lacking a motive. Must have been related to this then. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman? Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder, but there's no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. I'm rather relieved to say, it does seem rather far-fetched. True, there is no obvious motive, but there is still something in the back of my mind. I feel like I've seen something somewhere that hints at why the coroner might have done this. The child that we briefly saw when we visited her? Yes, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report, but murdering someone for no reason is a very different story. No. When you questioned what possible reason you could have had for wanting to kill Asmund, something did come to mind. What? What came to mind? Could it have been that Asmund was the one that shot? Oh. Something that seems strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. Why did they have 500 scalpels? Uh-oh. Come on, out with it. It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big book here. It appears to have an accounting ledger. That's a record of forensic investigation. Yeah. 500 scalpels every month. Why would they need 500 scalpels a month? Yeah, what could you be using that many scalpels for? But I actually realized now that it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them, disappearing every month from the department's accounts. Asmund's criminal organization relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic team's account to find out where it's going would be extremely straightforward. "10 years ago, when Mr. Asmund was still a journalist and wrote this article about Mr. Drebber, he may have well stumbled upon information he was researching for the story. Information relating to Dr. Scythe's darkest secret that he would use to wreck money from her in the next decade. Her darkest secret? Good lord, you mean... I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago. But clearly, the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, were you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asmund in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your dark secret forever. You'll never understand. None of you. What we had to keep covered up all these long years. None of you had what we had. as very little of the machine remains as it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never properly be established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, it's very possible that Courtney Scythe will escape punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done, and tell the court the truth about what happened. 10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness. And your... Whoa! Consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for. To sever that to sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years. Super high voltage instantaneous kinesis? I mean, really. It's the addle-brained mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. They go on and on about their wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it? You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim? Yes, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Asmon's article deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you sought out didn't stop at Asmon, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yes, I see. The condemned convict that you saw rising from the grave in Logate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what had happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man's and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required you to abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Scythe to be precise. It was a year ago. With some extraordinary twist of fate, Asmon turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have our paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye about the coroner who had handled the bogus autopsy being appointed head of the new forensic team. When I learned the news, my cognitive process started to devise the plan. What a horrid tale! He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wishes against him for revenge, and to have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer. Your actions against those who ruined your future were justified as revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another person's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis, but you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. You knew he would forever be branded as a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this, your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. Hi, Pollux. I... Lord Branziques, what of Dr. Scythe? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted, and she's been reprimanded in custody, my lord. I presume she will face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. Oh, hi, Louie. Oh my god, good to see you. I hope you've been well. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It's a really hard truth to swallow. However, that is the topic of a future occasion. For now, Professor Harebrain. Oh, yes? It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than you realized. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you were absolved of all guilt. This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. Me, this dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy, I've been selfish and self-centered above all, and above all a fool. Professor, I spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing I could do whatever I set my mind to do, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I caused others pain and misery, others who are far, far greater people than I. No, Professor, that is not true. What? Don't tar yourself with the same thing, or the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his own doing and his alone. I low-key miss KI a lot. You need to get the fuck out of there because they got fucking gators and giant fucking snails and mosquitoes up the ass and iguanas. You gotta leave. Lord Branziques. And a derision with which he reverted to you earlier, calling you a fool. Talentless even. The man had no idea. To believe in yourself and your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams and to work your fingers to your bone. Ugh. That's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices. Oh. Thank you, Barack. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yes, my lord. It is his court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. I presume there are no objections? None for me, my lord. Certainly not. This trial has really made me think, but this is the right decision. It has been proven methodologically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever. I don't know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize the place. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant not guilty. Miss Miller! Oh god. Mrs. Miller is so good. I'm just imagining all my clients in Ace Attorney. Oh my god. Just like Miss Miller when I hear it. Right, like court is adjourned. Y'all remember how they fucking implicated Mario? And he like, do y'all remember Mario's case? Why his case take 2 seconds? Actually, you know what? I didn't think about it. Let's watch. Mario in court. Oh my god. What the hell is oh, here it is.
Nice work, Mario.
Quite an unusual device. Is it some sort of pump?
I am Flood, glad to meet you. Hey, someone's coming.
Oh my god. This shit scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Court is now in session.
As you are no doubt aware, someone has been senselessly defacing Fair Isle Delfino using some paint-like substance. The accused is charged with polluting our beautiful home, and yes, endangering our very way of life. Indeed, how can one not be aware of what is going on? Though it is daytime in Delfino Plaza, our poor residents tremble beneath a veil of darkness. Expert Shine scholars have determined that this darkness has arisen because all of our guardians, the Shine Sprites, have vanished from their gathering spot at the Shine Gate. The reason? It's quite obvious. This horrible graffiti is to blame. Behold this sketch of the perpetrator based on eyewitness descriptions. The truth is obvious. The guilty party sits among us. It is none other than Mario.
Objection!
Overruled. I judge the defendant guilty as charged. I hereby order the defendant to clean this entire island. Until Isle Delfino is completely free of his vile handiwork, Mario shall not be allowed to leave. Court adjourned.
They killed him. They killed him. Like, they killed him. And then Flood is like, man, Mario, that's fucked up what they did to you, big dog. That's insane. Wait, where's it at?
His vile handiwork.
This appears to be quite a predicament, Mario. Data analysis verifies that the island's inhabitants are indeed troubled by pollution, but the pollution...
Wait, this is so funny to think about. Oh my god. Look at this. Flood is in jail. This is so funny. Wait a minute. Flood is a thug? Wait a minute. Mario and Flood are thugs? Oh my god. It's like more and more thugs just show up every day. I knew it. More like thug. Oh my god.
This appears to be quite a predicament, Mario. Data analysis verifies
that is so
the
funny.
island's inhabitants are indeed troubled by pollution, but the pollution itself is not the main problem.
Mario, do you see the
You
shit?
witnessed this object at the airstrip, correct? It is a Shine Sprite. Shine Sprites are the source of power on Isle Delfino. They used to gather in great numbers at the Shine Gate, but the graffiti incident has polluted the island and most of the Shine Sprites have fled. There is no longer any power to support the peaceful lifestyle of the islanders. It is most pitiable.
It's so funny to think about, like, the Shine Sprites just look at the graffiti, and it's not even that the graffiti has like anti like Shine Sprite properties. The Shine Sprites are just like, ugh. And they leave. They're just like, ugh. They're like,
it's very ghetto here.
and they just leave. Right, like, can you imagine the Shine Sprites go to the Shine, the fucking stupid Shine Gate or whatever, and they're like, and they just leave.
The only way to ensure the return of the Shine Sprites is to keep the island from becoming any dirtier.
Right, yes, that makes
The
sense.
perpetrator is likely at work even as we speak.
Mm-hmm.
And you, Mario, are being treated as a criminal. Tomorrow we must do our best to resolve this situation.
That is so funny. Mario went to jail. I love that. Painting trade. Oh my god. It's over. That was some trial. Professor, what a splendid outcome, isn't it? Oh, it is. It is. Congratulations, Professor Hairbrain. Mr. Sorry. Naruhodo. Sorry. Mr. Sato, I am truly, truly beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough? I'm just glad it's all been cleared up, that you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation. Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money, I'd give a whole lot to you, every penny. Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so we don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal is more than enough. Oh dear. What can I do? How about this? As a memento, the paper about my hypothesis is inside. Well, it's just a memento then. Thank you. I've been wondering, Professor. What are you going to do now? Oh my. Yes, what am I going to do? My hypothesis and my great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's... Oh my god. London is so embarrassed. Can you imagine the Alban cheese that London must feel right now? That the fucking head of their forensic team is a fraud, sham, liar who killed somebody? Can you imagine? Oh my god. While everybody is at the Great Expedition, the whole world is looking at Britain. Oh my god. Oh, that's so embarrassing. Oh my god. They're like, no wonder they went to America and that place is the shitholes because y'all got those fucking criminals from Britain. You know, my mom has this theory that like the reason why America is just so inherently evil is because part of the reason why the people who left like Europe came to America was because they were like outcasts or like people that didn't fit in the society or were criminals, and so they went to America instead to like start over. Like they had a reason to leave, and maybe the people that came over weren't, I don't know, the best of character, and thereby maybe that is what set the course for future events. I don't know. Hard to say. I must explore the Great Expedition whilst I'm here too, to see if any new inspiration hits me. Oh yes, that's a wonderful idea. I can't allow that. Oh my god. Lord Van Zeeks? What are you doing in here? Barak. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert. Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You were like a great demon behind your bench there, snarling down your prey. You're one of the few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution or the defense. Sorry? Or the defense. Did I just hear that right? I always knew that you had my best interests at heart. Don't worry. How about you show me around while I'm here in town? It's been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you. What? From there, you'll cross the channel and make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets. But no! Hold on a minute, Barak. What about the Great Expedition? This is a chance of a lifetime for me. I want to look around. No, No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea. It's that curse, buddy. Ugh. Sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barack. Lord Van Zieks. What is this about? Unnecessary precaution. Yes, I think I understand. You do? Well, Iris told me when you met Lord Van Zieks at his office some days ago. He asked me how Mr. Natsume was doing. Yes, that's right. I remember being surprised and thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well, even though it's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as the prosecutor. You mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? Those in the Reaper's sights meet their days, or sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up to now. But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsume and Gina were completely innocent. True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend. But Barack, like the mustached Nepalese, this man should leave this country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Did your friend's shaped package get any say in it? Goodness. Was this your intention all along then, Lord Van Zieks? In court, where people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless, and yet, sometimes I feel as though I don't understand him at all. It's time to go, Albert. Back to prison, for the time being. Back to prison? Ah, yes, alright. Well then, Mr. Naruhito. Thank you so much for everything. Not at all, Professor. It was a pleasure getting to know you. Best wishes, Professor Harebrained. Well, once the dust has settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now. Now, my Nepalese friend. Oh, yes? I thought you'd be gone too. We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time? You want to talk with me? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get the sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. The enigma. Barack Van Zieks. What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Here goes then. Can I have that key, please? So, are you satisfied? You saved a guileless scientist from a great injustice. Yes, I think so. I'm relieved, at least, that the man's innocent can be proven. Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Japanese comes from. Yeah, that'd be nice. Is it a Japanese man that was the professor? Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me. I imagine you saw me as a pretentious child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. But now, I think differently. You clearly know of our ways, so I would guess that some specific incident led you to thoroughly dislike of my led to your thorough dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please? The professor. I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest. He took your brother's life. Clint. My brother was Clint Van Zieks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. he was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then, too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from your homeland, the Empire of Japan. Oh. If it was 16 years... Oh! If it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father. And the other one would have been... Of course. I remember Dr. Mikitoba well. I had no idea. I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to the 3 visiting Nepalese. So, you've actually met my father? He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Nepalese spirit, and it made a very great impression on me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. And then in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zieks. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway, so he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me, personally, though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. When I finally found out the killer's identity, and the reason why no one had been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He'd been hiding in plain sight all the time. In plain sight? Are you aware of the political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. Leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions, which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, but our two nations could have very well ended up at war. What? A war between Britain and Japan? But that would mean... Oh my. You mean to say that the professor was...
When the trial reached its conclusion earlier, I thought to myself, yes, it's time. Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster. I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum. So see for yourselves now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind. That the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before, was Japanese.
Why did he have the same eye color as... Is Courtney Japanese?
Wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere. It's strangely familiar.
Kazuma... Father? Kazuma and... Wait. Mikitoba grew up together. I'm assuming their dads both went to... Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh! Uh-oh. Akachi?
Father. What? Father? Kazuma! My best friend, Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned. As he stood there before me, Ryunosuke. Hello again. My friend.
Kazuma-sama!
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba.
Judicial Excuse me? Okay.
A very long road. Thank you. Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
I knew you wouldn't die that easily. Kazuma. I owe you thanks, too. For taking good care of that in my absence. Oh.
Oh yeah, you can have that back, huh?
Karuma, the great blade of the Asogi clan, passed down through the generations. When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. The Japanese man's katana is his soul. He couldn't be parted from it. But then, when the incident happened, it was Susato-san's wish that I inherit the sword. And I've kept it with me ever since, along with my memories of the friendship we shared. With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow. I've made it. At last. Father.
So why didn't he get... Is he still out there? No. Who shot him then? Was it Mikitoba? Who shot him? Oh my god. Why the fuck was this guy going around killing people in power? Are you an idiot? Why would you do that? Oh my god, that's so embarrassing. Oh my god. No. Oh my god. Damn. Why would you do that? What the fuck? How are foreign exchange students committing murders? You didn't even go here. I have never heard of that. Wait a minute. I have never heard of that. What? What? Okay.
Are you saying... Surely not. You mean you knew all this time? I'm looking at it, but I still can't believe it. This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
Okay, you might want to... Okay, you might want to... That is very...
Kazuma-sama.
That was very expensive. That was very expensive. That is very difficult to make. That is very expensive. That is over 10 years old. That is a very important relic.
Ryunosuke, we have much to talk about, but now is not the time. I'll be seeing you.
I'm trying to do the top 500. Well, good luck.
That's all Kazuma said.
How are we gonna talk? Like, where are we going? He has no money.
Before he turned and left us there, in the courtroom.
Where's the contact information? What? So, he's a living after image of a man who took my brother's life, is he? Yes. Kazuma Asogi. My best friend. 3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us, I had an inkling there was something there, some connection. But why did Strongheart do that? Why did he make Kazuma's Lord Van Ziek's apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia, too. The man was apprehended, even executed, but his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I thank you for meeting with me, as I asked. Do you still hate me? "10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to beat my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I'd ever seen him. Poor Susato-san. All of this is tied up with painful memories for her, too. She never talked about this with me before, though. It took time to adjust for having father around. But just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me into his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London. And that friend had left behind a son, a boy 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had been a promise to his late father. So he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. I'm sure you've worked out that young man's name was Kazuma Asogi. That's how you and I met. Interesting. So you grew up together. I have got to know. Can somebody explain this to me? I have got to know why a foreign exchange student with a son murdered high-profile people in Great Britain. What? Well...
For a brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time. As if great wheels had been set in motion, I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter, but in many, it was the start of a new one.
And... oh, jeez. Oh, these last two are gonna be awful. Oh my god. These last two are gonna be terrible. I can already feel it. Ugh. Y'all play like 2 Overwatches?